Hello everyone. Today we'll do some quick revision of differential calculus. In electromagnetic theory, you have often seen the terms like this, that is divergence of E, curl of and E, and you have also seen gradient of F. Okay, gradient of F or gradient of any scalar potential. Okay. So E may be electric field or magnetic field. Suppose E and V are two fields in electromagnetic theory. So E may be here divergence of E. This term is defined as divergence of E. Okay. Whenever you will write like this, you will say that this is divergence of E. What is E? E is electric field. So similarly, you can define this term as curl of E. Okay, and this is gradient of F, or if F, then you will call it gradient of F, and if you write here V, then it is gradient of V. Okay. Similarly, you will see divergence of B, curl of B. Okay, and again the gradient of any vector function, scalar function. So this is divergence of magnetic field. This is called divergence of magnetic field. Okay, this is curl of magnetic field, and this is gradient of potential. So you will always see like these terms. Okay, that is divergence of E, curl of E, gradient of V, and divergence of V, curl of V. So in order to properly understand the electromagnetic theory, you must know what is this del. What is this del? This is called del operator. Okay, so this is del operator, and this is defined as in Cartesian coordinate system. In Cartesian coordinate system, del can be written as x cap del by del x plus y cap del by del z plus z cap, sorry, this is y, z cap del by del z. So this is your del. This term is your del, and you call it del operator. Okay. I have expressed del operator in Cartesian coordinate system, that is with unit vectors x cap, y cap, and z cap. Similarly, you can express del operator in spherical and cylindrical coordinate system also. In order to have the clear picture of these this del operator, you must know about the ordinary derivatives. So let's first discuss about the ordinary derivatives. I want to make it more clear to you what is del. So let's discuss ordinary derivatives. You have already read in intermediate about ordinary derivatives, so I am repeating it again. Suppose we have some function of one variable fx. What is fx? Fx is a function of one variable. Function of one variable. Okay. So now the question is, what is df by dx? What is df by dx for us? Okay. So df by dx tells us, the question is what is df by dx? Actually, you know that df by dx tells us how fast the function fx varies when we change when we change the argument by a tiny amount dx. So we are discussing about ordinary tennis. As you know that if fx is function of one variable, then its derivative is defined as, ordinary derivative is defined as df by dx, and it tells us how fast the function fx varies when we change the argument by a teeny amount dx. Here x is your argument. Okay, when you change a very small, when you change x in a very small amount, then how fast it changes, this ratio is called your df by dx. So in other words, you can say that if you change the x by a very small amount, okay, suppose you are changing in a infinitesimal amount dx, okay, then what will be the change in f? Okay, when you change dx, f will also change. So f can, the change in f can be denoted as dfx. Okay, so when you change dx, f will also change. So let this changes df, so this change is proportional to dx. Okay, so you can say that uh, when you change the proportionality into equality, you will get df by dx is equal to df by dx. Okay, df is equal to df by dx multiplied by dx. That is, when you change dx, df changes, and in this change in df is in proportional to change in x. Okay, and when you remove the proportionality constant, when you equate them, you get a proportionality constant, and this proportionality constant is your uh, derivative. Okay, so it may be variable depend upon the point to point, so we will not say it the constant, we say it as the proportionality factor. So df by dx is basically a proportionality factor. So what does it mean? It means that if we change dx, if we change x, suppose you have some type of function like this, let's plot it. X, this is suppose f is some function, so it may change like this. Okay, it may change like this, suppose this is the point. Okay, so and there may be another type of function of x, means I am plotting it as a function of one variable. Now f as a function of one variable, so this function may increase like this. Okay, this is the plot of f with respect to x. So you see here that here f changes very rapidly as you change x compared to this graph. Okay, so here you can say that df by dx in second graph is greater than df by dx of the first graph. Therefore you can say that if the function varies slowly with x, then its corresponding derivative will be small. But if function increases rapidly with x, then its corresponding derivative will be large. So here we can infer that derivative df by dx is the slope of the graph. So df by dx is basically the slope of the graph of f, slope of the graph of f versus x. So I think ordinary derivatives must be clear to you. So far we have discussed the function of one variable, and we have discussed about the ordinary derivatives. Now let's discuss about the gradient. What is gradient? Okay. Suppose we have a function of three variables. Let t is the function of three variables. So far we have discussed in ordinary derivative as a function of only one variable. Now we are going to discuss the function of three variables. This may be a simple example of this type of function may be the temperature in a room. There are many examples, but I am giving the example of temperature in a room. So in the previous section we have seen that a derivative tells us how fast the function varies if we move a little bit. But this time when we are discussing about the function of three variables, the situation is somehow more complicated because it depends on what direction we move. Okay. For example, suppose this is the function of three variable. Let's we have assumed that this type of function may be a simple example of this type of function may be a temperature in a room. In that case, suppose this is your room. Okay. Okay, this is your room, and these are your axes: x-axis, y-axis, and your z-axis. So if this t denotes the temperature of the room, function of the temperature of the room, then if you will move in a plane, okay, if you move in xy plane keeping z as a constant, then you will get almost equal temperature. But as you move vertical, you will see the temperature difference. So in x and y direction, this t changes very slowly as you move. Okay, but if this t will change very fast when you move in the vertical direction. So suppose this is if some point x y z, okay, t at x y z will be, if you move a little bit, okay, let's see dl distance. So this dl may be dx x cap, dy y cap, dz z cap. Means when you move a small distance along dx along x axis, small distance along y axis, that is dy, a small distance along z axis, that is dz, then the change in temperature T is defined as dt is equal to del T by del x, okay, and this is dx, del T by del y, dy, del T by del z, dz. So as like in the previous case, we have seen that change in df is proportional to only dx, and how fast it changes is expressed by df by dx. Okay, so this was the case when you move only in one direction, but if you move, if this change in f depends upon the direction, that its change is different in x direction, and if its change is different when you move in y direction. Suppose if you are not moving in y and z direction, means keeping y and z constant, and if you move along x direction, so you if you if change your position, if you change your observer to a small infinitesimal distance dx in x direction keeping y and z, then this problem will be will be very similar to the problem of one variable. But in order to include the uh, other variations, that is when you move in y and z dimension, in that case the change in dt can be expressed as can be expressed by this equation. This I have written this in accordance with the theorem of partial derivatives. So what is this? Let me write it again. Dl vector is equal to dx x cap dy y cap dz z cap. So this is called infinitesimal displacement vector. This is what? This was infinitesimal displacement along x direction. This was infinitesimal displacement along y direction, and this was infinitesimal displacement along z direction. So in combined three dimension, you can write it as infinitesimal displacement vector. So I am writing it as infinitesimal displacement vector. Okay, and this is can be written as del by del x cap plus y cap del by del y plus z cap del by del z. Okay, multiplied by t. So this is your gradient. This is called del operator. Okay, this is called del operator. Del operator. So this dt can be written as like this. T is a scalar function. Note it. T is a scalar function. That is the function of x, y, z. Okay, and dot dl vector. Okay, so if you uh, take the correspondence of one dimensional case, so you will see that where del t was like that, df by let's see, df by dx, where f was the function of one variable. Let's so in one if the f where in the case in which f was the function of only one variable, so we have we have written like that df by dx is equal to, so for infinitesimal change along x dimension, change in df can be given, change in f can be given by df, and this is equal to, df is equal to df by dx and multiplied by dx. So this was derivative, this was defined as derivative of f. Similarly, when you uh, when you change the displacement, if you change the dl, okay, then change in, when you change the position l, that is, and dl is the infinitesimal displacement vector, so change in t, change in the three-dimensional function xyz can be given by this equation. So delta t is at an equal footing as df by dx. So this gradient of, this is called gradient of t, gradient of t, or in general you can define this type, if t is scalar, as a gradient of scalar, gradient of a scalar function. So we should note here that t was a scalar function. When we take the gradient of t, gradient of t is defined as this term, no? Gradient of t, this is gradient of t, okay. So gradient of t is a vector function, that is x cap del t by del x, okay. This is your gradient of t, y cap del t by del z, z cap del t by sorry, this is y del z. So like any vector, the gradient has, so as you know that this is a vector quantity, so like any vector the gradient has magnitude and direction. So in order to understand its geometrical meaning, let's you can write it like del t vector, the modulus of del t into modulus of dl and cos theta. So cos theta is the angle between gradient of t and dl. So if theta is the angle between these, so maximum change in t will takes place when theta is maximum, when theta is 0, okay. So when you move in the same direction as this dl is the displacement, so when you displace in the same direction of the gradient of t, then the change in t will be maximum, because in that one case only theta is equal to 0. Therefore we can say that gradient of t points in the direction of maximum increase of the function of t. So this is all about how the gradient is defined. It will be more clear with one example. So let's see the example. So let's take an example. Let's, there is some position vector r vector. So in Cartesian coordinate system, r can be, suppose this is the point x y z, and r is the position vector. So r is the position vector, it can be written as x x cap, y y cap, z z cap, okay. So uh, the the magnitude of this position vector can be written as r is equal to x square plus y square plus z square. Now r can be called as scalar function, okay, scalar function of x y z. So this r is a scalar function of x y z, and this r was a vector function of x, y, z. So this r was a vector, but this r is scalar. That is the magnitude of this r. Okay? This is your r vector. So this is the scalar function of x, y, z. So let's see what is gradient of r. So gradient of r, let's take the gradient of r. R is an scalar function. So note here that gradient can be taken only of the scalar function. Okay, we generally take the gradient of only scalar function. So, and when you take the gradient, so when you operate on a scalar function, this is a del operator. When you operate on a scalar function, it gives you a vector vector function. Okay, so gradient of r is defined as del by, so let's write uh, in terms of unit vectors, x cap y cap del by del y plus z cap del by del z. This is your del, and I have to write in place of r you can write x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, so let's operate it on this function. So gradient of r, I am calculating the gradient of r. So x cap is equal to del by del x derivative x square plus y square plus z square. Similarly, along y cap, this can be written as del by del y x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, and plus z cap del by del z x square plus y square plus z square. Okay, now let's differentiate it. You will get uh, 1 by 2 x square plus y square plus z square. When you differentiate this term in with respect to x, will get 2x, and this is along x cap. Similarly, you can find the other term, that will be 1 by 2 into multiplied by 2y divided by x square plus y square plus z square. Similarly, this term can be written as 1 by 2 2z square plus y square plus z square. Okay, let's cut it. So you will get finally x cap plus y cap. Okay, z cap, and divided by square root of x square plus y square plus z square. So this, so let's see the numerator. This is nothing but r vector, and in the denominator, that is the magnitude of r. Okay, so you can write like this also. I have simply written as r, that is the magnitude of r. So r, you can just write it like r cap by r in vector notation. This is a vector and this is scalar, and you know that r cap divided by r is nothing but unit vector along, this is unit vector r cap is along this direction. So this is your r cap. So gradient of r, so gradient of r gives you the r cap. So it tells the direction in which this r changes maximum. In other words, you can say that the distance from the origin increases more rapidly in the radial direction.